This is an iPad Pro, the M5 version. This is a Samsung Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra. And this is an Apple fanboy. This could get very interesting. My buying guidance for tablets used to be very simple and very short-sighted. It was a case of just get the iPad. Nothing comes close to what Apple does when it comes to tablets. Then I got more and more opportunity to try out the other side of the fence and found out that actually you can get more for your money, and sometimes you can get some stuff that you don't get from Apple with a tablet. So in this video, I thought I'd compare the latest flagships from the two biggest players, the M5 iPad Pro and the Samsung Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra. What I want to do is give you 5 reasons I think this is better than this, and then 5 reasons I think this is better than this. And then at the end of this video, please don't skip there, watch the whole thing, etc. I will reveal which one I'd pick and why, and is it obvious? Maybe not. Who knows? Let's get into it. Let's start with the Tab S11 Ultra, and the first reason I think it's better than the M5 iPad Pro, and that is the display size. This is the 13-inch M5 iPad Pro. It's not the 11-inch version, although against this, it looks like it is. This has a 14.6-inch display and it is a 16:10 aspect ratio, which to me feels more tablet-like. It's very good for watching movies and that sort of stuff, and it's great for productivity and split screen and all that sort of stuff because of how big it is. And I just think if you're going to go for a big tablet, go big. Reason number 2 is artificial intelligence, or in this case, Galaxy AI versus Apple Intelligence. Now, in fairness, Apple Intelligence is getting better. I did a test between these two in terms of removing something or a few things from a photo, and they were relatively on par. They were both, in fairness, in this particular example, not particularly good, but this demonstrates how hard AI is. But we are getting to a stage where Apple Intelligence is starting to bite at the heels of Galaxy AI. But Galaxy AI, in my opinion, is still the best on the market. So if you want AI stuff, get this. Reason number 3 is that you get several things on this that you will never get, I don't think anyway, on an iPad. The first thing is a micro SD storage expansion slot, which you can add up to 2 terabytes of storage to. It's also got 45 watt fast charging. You don't get that on the iPad. It's got IP68 water resistance, which you don't get on the iPad. I mean, presumably this has some unofficial water and dust resistance built into it. It must have. This 100% has it because it has that rating, and this has DeX, which I've still not properly used, but people love it. The DeX Massive is as big as the S Pen Massive, so it must be important. And on that note, you also get this, the S Pen, as standard. You have to buy the Apple Pencil Pro separately. Reason number 4 is that the Tab S11 Ultra is cheaper and I think better value than the M5 iPad Pro. Starting with the price, the 13-inch M5 iPad Pro starts at $1,299 in the UK for the 256 gig version and goes up to a trouser-destroying 2,728 quid for the top tier model that has 2 terabytes of storage, cellular, nano texture, and I've added the Apple Pencil Pro to that price as well. The Tab S11 Ultra starts at $1,199. That's again for 256 gig. This goes up to £1,699 in the UK for 1 terabyte plus cellular. So a lot cheaper. Okay, it doesn't have the 2 terabyte storage option, but whatever. And remember, you get the stylus as standard. You can also upgrade the storage as mentioned. So in theory, you could get the smaller storage version and just add a micro SD card into there. And I think you'll often get better trade-in with Samsung. Number 5 is the fact that this has One UI 8 installed and this has iPadOS 26 installed, and it has liquid glass and all that stuff. And sometimes One UI 8 is just refreshing because it isn't translucent. You can read everything. It's not illegible at certain times. It's just a better experience. However, I do quite like liquid glass. I've grown to really like iPadOS 26. Sorry, no, in fact, not sorry, but there you go. I just know that for some people, this isn't good enough because of whatever, and this is better. So that is definitely a feather in the cap for Samsung. Now, let's give the iPad some love. Good news, you don't need to spend a fortune putting together a very functional iPad setup. This is a case in point, literally. It's ESR's Shift magnetic case and it's fantastic. And what I like about it the most is how versatile it is. You can switch into 5 different setups, watching videos, typing, browsing. It's genuinely very useful like that. The stand feels really stable no matter where I'm using it thanks to those strong magnets and the wide base, while the magnetic attachment makes the case super simple to use. Portrait mode is a nice touch as well, especially for FaceTime FaceTime calls or scrolling through apps, and the back is fully detachable, so I can read, take notes or play games without having that extra bulk. And when you pair it with ESR's Geo Digital Pencil, everything changes for the better. This thing works with Apple's Find My network, so if it goes missing, you can ping it with a sound and track it down. It's Bluetooth connected as well, so it gives you a shortcut button on the top and a real-time battery display. Writing feels super smooth with palm rejection, tilt sensitivity, and a fine 1.5mm tip. Plus, it charges in just 20 minutes and lasts up to 12 hours. At $32.99, it's a seriously cost-effective alternative to the Apple Pencil Pro, and it works with any iPad from 2018 onwards, which the Apple Pencil Pro doesn't. To find out more, click those links below. Reason number one that the M5 iPad Pro is better than the Tab S11 Ultra is performance. Now, in everyday life, they feel identical if you're just doing normal stuff. However, they are flagship devices and they're designed to do more than, regular everyday tasks. And in that respect, the M5 does beat the MediaTek Dimensity 9400 Plus that's in that Samsung tablet. I don't do benchmarks, but according to Tom's Hardware, they ran a Geekbench single core test on this M5 iPad Pro, and it matched the M4 Max chip, which is insane, and it beat every other single core PC chip score on Geekbench apparently, which is nuts. I won't go through the numbers because who cares, but if raw performance is what you want. Reason number two is the fact that you can get the nano texture display on the M5 iPad Pro if you go for the 1 or 2 terabyte version, obviously. You can't get that on the S11 Ultra, and the result is basically a much less reflective display, as you can see there, and a more matte, well, it is a matte finish to the display itself, which I prefer. Personally, you may not, but it's an option, and you don't get that option from Samsung. Reason number three is very subjective, but I think the M5 iPad Pro is slightly better looking than the Tab S11 Ultra. They're both 5.1mm thick, apparently. But for some reason, the iPad Pro just looks thinner. It's cleaner. Okay, you get one less camera, and yes, from the front, the Tab S11 Ultra has thinner bezels. It's got the better display, I think, personally. But overall, if I had to pick a winner, it would be the iPad in terms of looks. And you can't deny the fact that if you use the Tab S11 Ultra like that, it looks a bit weird. Whereas this doesn't. I still prefer the landscape thing on that, but we're giving the M5 iPad Pro some love here. Oh, and speakers, the M5 iPad Pro, they're slightly better. Not by much, but they are better, which again is a feather in Apple's cap. Reason number four is the fact that the iPad Pro should hold its value a little bit better come resale time. I've got nothing to back this up apart from a 2022 report from Cell, who said that the iPad typically loses 67.9% of its value after launch, whereas Samsung tablets lose on average 84.3%. But I think if you want to get the most money from your old tablet in the future, Apple is probably the way to go. Reason number five is again very subjective, but it's the fact that in my opinion, the Apple ecosystem is better. And the reason for that for me is because I have an Apple Watch, an Apple TV, 11T Max, an iPhone, etc, etc. Everything is Apple for me pretty much, which means this slots into my life and into my business much easier, and it has Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro, and I don't think you can get anything comparable in terms of video and audio creative stuff. I know I'll get roasted in the comments for this, but I just don't think there are comparable pro apps for those two industries on Android tablets. Get involved down below, guys. And in fact, guys, that is my list of 5 things for each of these. They are both fantastic tablets. If you buy one of these, you will not be disappointed at all. If I had to pick one, obviously it's the iPad because I'm an Apple fanboy. But if I wasn't, this is really compelling. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, you know what to do.